Hi, welcome back to the Revival Project. So, finally back. I've had my holiday break and now I'm going to keep going on this. So, here is the plan, at least a plan. It's not what I'm going to do, it's the plan. The plan is to disassemble this fully again because this was all temporary printed parts to test. Most of them are not suitable for printers, just because low infill, not many walls and that kind of stuff. And then I have about 99% of the pieces printed. This should be enough to get a fully working printer. Um, so this is all of these green blue pieces are Makita blue PETG. I like the color and I don't need the full strength of ABS on most of this. Then all the black pieces are just Polymakers plain ABS. And then I have some bronze pieces that are a no-name bronze filament. So I'm going to put this all together and then I will get all of my... I need to add some holes to the frame. I will get all of those put in. And then when I have a fully working printer, I'll disassemble it all and then I'll paint the frame, so the front of the frame and the two end pieces in this color, just to match my whole teal, a dark teal, black and bronze theme. So I probably won't get there in this video, but I'll try to get a working printer. I have 1 week to get a working printer out of all of this, so hopefully by the end of this video this should print. Okay, let's go. And here are the parts for my x-axis, and it's mainly the X gantry, and then my rods, of course, my X carriage, so this is the part that the tool head mounts to. I have a couple of decorative panels to hide the Z motors, just because pretty. And then I have a tensioning wheel for the X belt, and then my top blocks for the Z axis. One thing I'm going to do on this build is I'm using all dryland bearings. Now, dryland bearings are different from the normal LM 8UU bearings that we use in that they don't have ball bearings in them. These are just a polymer plastic that it's extremely hard and wear resistant. And for this load, they should last forever. So I think I would have to change a lot of parts before these ever wear out. So I'm going to start putting together this whole thing. I've designed it so that I can remove the X carriage without disassembling the entire X axis. The only thing is that the dryland bearings needs to be on the printer forever until I disassemble it again. But that shouldn't be an issue, realistically. So let me get started, and if there's something I feel I need to explain, that I'll bring you in and try to explain it. So first thing that I need to do is get all the heat sets in. There's quite a few on this printer because they make everything look sleeker and making disassembly and assembly much easier than threading into plastic. So I'm just going to start by getting all my heat sets in. If you don't know, this is a heat set. And they are usually made of brass, and you melt them into the plastic using a soldering iron. I have my special little setup that I built in a previous video. You can check that out over there. And this is just to make sure that I go straight down and up every time, hopefully making the install much more consistent. So what I do is I insert the heat set. Let's do this part. I insert a heat set on into a hole. In this instance, I've tried to make all the holes so that the heat sets sort of sit in there, and they won't fall out easily. And that makes so that I can just apply the heat with the soldering iron. I press it into the part, and then I like to use a flat metal surface to kind of make sure that I don't have any protruding plastic, and that ends up giving a really nice heat set insert. So let me get all of these installed, and I'll start putting the parts on the printer. I think I should explain how I'm attaching these bearings. Oh, by the way, I switched the Z-axis. I switched it from LMU, from dry lens back to LM 8UUs because I don't have enough for the entire printer. I just noticed. So the X-axis won't be affected really. There won't be any noise from it. So I'm switching back to those for this. The way I'm attaching these bearings is that I've put in these screws on the printed part with some heat sets, and then I use the fact that LMU8s have these grooves. So when this goes in flush, which it does, that M3 will just slightly move into that groove and just hold it in place. So it's a simple solution, and also it gives me 2 mounting points on the side of the printer, and these would give me the ability to add something to the printer. I am using it on the left side for attaching my filament sensor, and I just thought it's a simple mechanical solution that I don't have to design any clamps or anything. So yeah, so that M3 just screws into that little groove and holds it in place. So I'll get all of those together, and then we'll put the rods in and actually get it on the printer. So I'll be right back again. The LM8UUs are in, and now it's the rods. They're simply just friction fit into the part. These parts are held together by the rest of the frame anyways, so I don't need to attach them in, and it worked great on the prototype, so I don't see why I should make any changes to that. The only thing that I need to consider here is these dry lens. They need to be in the right spot because my X gantry has room for 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. So I just need to make sure that I have the right orientation, which I do. So now it's time to put it on the printer. Now, putting the X-axis onto the printer, it's a slightly tricky thing because I'm using anti-backlash nuts, and they're a little bit finicky to get on, but I think I can do it relatively smooth, so I'll try that. And also everything here is greased, so I'm just gonna have to keep drying my hands, and when I'm done with the X-axis I can go and wash them. But anyways, I'll start off by getting the actual rods in, and then I can put the get the X down. Okay, I have my my nuts on my lead screws, so now I just need to attach them with the 2 bolts, and I should be good to go. Start working on the belt and the top mounts, and then the actual carriage. So there goes nothing. Now the x-axis is on the z-axis. I have full motion, and everything works smoothly. And I'll be able to put the x-axis gantry on. Now this gantry is a lot of little functions into one. So of course, number one, it holds the actual tool head onto the rods with the bearings. Second function is that it does include a way for me to attach the belt. Third function is that this also holds the shroud for the tool head. So the tool head is in 2 pieces, the front and the back piece. And this has all the connection points to hold it all together. So the design for this, I did make a small little mistake, and that is that I originally designed this for a long LM8 UU bearing. And I did switch to dry lens, so there's a lot of extra space in here, and I'm probably just going to end up printing some small clips to just put in here so that I don't have to reprint this entire thing when I can just make some tiny little prints and add to it. It would just be a waste of a perfectly good printed part. So now, in theory, if I did this correctly, and I haven't tested it yet, I should be able to clip this onto just the bearings and it should stay in place. So here goes nothing, I guess. So that is, I just need to get the bearings in the right spot, and there we go. So that just makes it easier for me to assemble it. Next, I need to add the back, and then I'll do the tool head when I get all the motion done. But the back is bolted on, so I need to figure out what size bolt I need and simply bolt it on, and then I'll run the belt. So be right back again, I guess. Sorry. Quick little change in plans. I had to remove the drilling bearings from the x-axis. I'm not sure if these are just not good quality. I did buy them from AliExpress. I might just find a better seller. So I'm back to LM8s, and now I'm using the actual long one as well. So I have movement. I need to add some lubrication, but that'll be in the final assembly. Yeah, so next is to add my little toppers, which only have a simple function, and that is to just keep the frame straight. So they lock onto the external rods, and I have added screws to fit them on if I want to. I'm not sure if I need to. And then I'm actually stealing something from the Ender 3, in that there is a slot in the top here for a bearing that will let the lead screw swing back and forth, but not side to side. So I'll see if that works. If it doesn't, I can just remove those bearings quite easily. So I'm going to put it all together and then put the belt in, and yeah. So the way that I install the belt is that I have a loop. I put that loop into a hole on the side of the X carriage, and then I add an M3 screw at the back. And that screw will go through that little loop on the end of the belt, and I have a fully attached belt, and to tension it I simply um, turn this wheel on the side and it is fully tensioned. It's also falling off the motor, that's my bad. And now if I'm not a doofus and put the belt in the wrong spot, I can tension this wheel, and that will put some tension on the X belt. And then I have fine adjustment if I need to. I have considered making some sort of stop for this so that it doesn't lose tension, but I think just tension alone will hold it. Shouldn't be an issue, never been an issue on any printer. So now I have an X-axis and a Z-axis all done. So next would be the Y-axis, and get that together. I need to put some custom feet on. I should probably test these. I don't think they're necessary to test. These are just the covers. I'll probably just put them away for later so I don't break them. But yeah, next is the Y-axis. So let me get everything ready for that. Alright, I have all the parts for the Y-axis and a couple of more that I just need to put on now. Which is the mount for the brace that will help this whole wobble situation. They need to go on now, as well as the feet need to go on now. So yeah, I'll get all of those on. I was missing one printed part for the Y-axis, so I just hit print on that. It's just a 15-minute print, so by the time I need it, it's already going to be ready. This is the socket for the Y-idler mount, motor mount. So this is actually the original Y-axis motor, and it's just going back. I don't see a reason to change it. This is not a speed printer. If I need to change it, I'll put something else in there, but this motor works, so I'm just gonna go with that for now. Alright, let's get to it. First I need to get these plates off. The back one is easy because I took the nuts off already. I'll take the front off. I need to add some more nuts and all that stuff, so I need to figure that out, and then I'll start showing how all of this comes together. So now that the parts in the back are on, I thought I might just explain what this is. So these two black pieces are mounts for more threaded rod. So this is M10 threaded rod, and I'll be using two more pieces of M10 threaded rod going just through these two black pieces, and that would be my anchor point for my brace that will go down diagonally here. I have made a mistake in my parts. I've printed the little feet with 12mm holes instead of 10mm holes, so they're loose on there for now, but for testing it's okay. I'll just print a new set of these in the correct size. Also, I printed some really cool TPU feet in blue. I just wanted something sparkly on this thing, because it's all basically three colors: black, this Makita blue, and the bronze or copper. And I wanted a little bit of zing, you know. So I got these light blue TPU feet. This is actually just the light blue portion of Cookie Cat's unicorn TPU, which is a really nice little blue color. And I've had to just stack on a bunch of M10 nuts here because everything needs to be tight, and I won't get the final position of these two black ones before I get the braces on. So they're all just on there right now temporarily. Once I get the position of those, I can position the feet, and then what I need to do right now is I need to make sure that this end piece and the actual frame is 100% parallel. When I mocked this up, I didn't really care about that as much. But right now I'm going to try and measure the distance on this side and then match it with this side. Just by loosening these bolts and moving it back and forth. And then it's on to doing the same on the front, putting the feet on. Putting the Y motor on, which goes right here. And then, yeah, figuring all this out as I go. So, wish me luck, I guess. So the way that I do this is by just measuring from the main frame, the big frame piece, to the small one, and just making sure that the number on each side is the same. I can miss by like a millimeter or two, and it wouldn't make a huge difference. But I want to get everything as nice as possible, and it takes me like a minute extra to make sure that this is nice and secure. So now I can move on to installing the Y motor and the bed. So Y motor next. The Y motor mount is just a simple L bracket with a reinforcement, and then there are two heat sets on the inside that will intersect with the stock holes of the frame right here. And then I have these two pins sticking out the back that will mate with the frame. So that will give it the correct position and keep it from torquing. And then this little brace will keep it from bending that way. So that should be it. The mock-up piece that I printed was super solid, even though it was a draft print. So this is like 50% infill, 5 walls. So it's basically 100% infill. So that should hold the motor nicely in place. I have tried to include some wiring stuff on this, so both of these pieces have holes for wires to go through. In this case, it's only for the Y-axis motor. There's no end stop on this printer at all. So yeah, let me get the Y motor installed. It's just two screws, and then the actual motor goes on. And then we need to get the bed on, or I think, well, you'll find out soon, so go. Now for the Y belt tensioner, it's the exact same setup as I have on X. There's the idler, which is actually the same file, just I printed it twice, and a hex head bolt held in to the printed part, 2 bearings, and one of these knobs. I did print new ones, so I'll change out this one and get the new one installed. So the way this is set up is that it just goes into the frame here, and the belt pulls it back. So let me get that installed, and I'll see you when I get to this guy. So, if you didn't already know, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. That's a little better. Easier to sit. Okay, now I was gonna do the bed, and then I realized I need to make some more holes in this front plate. I can do that while it's on. It's just aluminium, so that's not a big issue. But what I need to do is I need to figure out where to put the holes for this. And this is the mount for my fly mini pad that is going on the front. So these three pieces will be on the front right here, giving me both a pie for this and also a touchscreen at the front. So that should be a nice install, but I need to figure out where to put these holes. So I'm gonna jump into the CAD and start measure some stuff and figure out where to put all these holes, scribe some points and then drill them. And heat sets in this as well. So that will be a little bit of a thinking job, I guess. But the rest of this is looking really nice at this point. If I'm being completely honest, I did miss one small detail on one part so far, which is something that annoys me, because when I'm designing, I try to take into account the length of screws that I'm going to use. I mean, I have this giant set of screws that it's M3 in basically all sizes up to 50 millimeters, but I want to get the screw size in those sizes. It doesn't matter that there's an M3 by 15. That's a rare size of screw, right? So you want to get it either 12 or 16. I know 14 is a thing, but they're not common. So 12 and 16 is the steps that I have. So in one spot so far, I've missed that, and it's on the Y motor mount. It's the two bolts that hold the motor mount onto the frame. The motor mount is 1 millimeter too thin on the mounting surface, making it so that an M3 by 16 was just slightly too long and it interfered with the motor. In this case, it was easy. I just added some little washers and that fixed it. Don't think I'm gonna bother fixing it either. There's no point in reprinting something that I can just fix with a couple of washers. There's no impact other than if someone sees it, I can tell them, hey, I screwed up, and have fun about it. So it's just a good tip for me that when you're designing, make sure that you think about the fasteners, heat inserts, directions for those, nuts, washers, screw length. They all come into to account in your design. There's no point of printing a part and then realize that you needed a M3 by 11 to make it perfect, or an M3 by 13. I mean, you can cut your own screws by all means, but try to make sure that when you're designing something, think about if someone else were to print the same thing. Would they be happy with cutting screws just to make it work? M3 by 22, not a common size, so yeah. My little tip of the day, make sure you design around your fasteners as well. I designed a template to drill the holes needed to mount the screen mount to the front. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm fixing another problem that I've done. I designed this without any way of attaching anything on the inside to attach it to this. So what I'm doing is I'm using my trusty old 3D pen over here, set it to 230C, and just using the same PETG that this is, because PLA won't stick to PETG. And what I did was I put in a nut and a washer, and then you can see down in this corner, I just filled in the area around it with PETG from that, and that will hold that nut in place so I can screw in from right here. So yeah, little handy tool is to have that 3D pen. I've used it twice in a year, but when I needed it, absolute clutch. So it's a good like $8 spent on AliExpress right there. So let me keep going, and I'll show you how I do the drilling part. It's just aluminum, so nothing difficult. But yeah, I'm just cranking away, trying to do as much as I can. Hopefully, get this printing by the weekend. So yeah. So the Pi screen thing is attached. I'll have to take it back off again. This is just to test it. I need to take it off to put the screen in it, but so far so good. Next, the little template that I made for drilling the holes for that. It's just a really simple little thing to just get the holes in the right spot. So this would just be the same position as the holes on this. So all I need to do is, I have this X in the middle. I just need to line that up with the hole for the idler. And then what I like to do in these situations where I need a relatively precise hole, I have a 1.5 millimeter bit on my little screwdriver, and I made the hole in the template really small. So this would be there's basically no room for it to move or for me to make a mistake on marking. So I'll mark all 4 of these, and then I will drill them out with a 3.5 millimeter drill bit. So once again, I'll be right back. Now when I'm drilling through something like this is aluminium, it's super soft. I just use normal drill bits, and then I have a tiny bit of oil. This is just rapeseed oil from the kitchen. Just about anything works for aluminium. I have my little divots to show me where to drill, and then it's just about keeping a nice even pressure, and then just keep applying oil, just to make sure that you don't overheat your bit. So after you're done, I like to take a just a bigger drill bit. It doesn't need to be this big, just bigger than the hole, and simply use it to give it a little bit of a chamfer, cleans up the edges, get rid of all the burrs and stuff, and this makes it a lot nicer. So let me do the last 2 and then put this back on. It was easier to take it off and drill it here so I can get some more control. So let me do the last ones, put it back on, and let's test the screen mount. Okay, now that I have the screen mount on the front, nice and secure, I still have access to my little adjustment knob for the Y belt. So this would just be easy to tighten and loosen depending on how I want it. So that was a nice little feature. Next is the bed, and it's the only stock piece that I'm not changing at all. Well, I'm just going to keep using it like this. This one has PLA printed bearings, which have worked great. One of them is a little bit so I'll print some new ones and put them in on the final assembly. I have ordered enough to put the new Drylon or I guess bearings in there, so I might do that. It's a fairly simple thing of just loosening all these bolts, putting the new bearings in, and tightening it back up. So the way this is installed is that I will put the rods through the bearings and then put the thing on the printer, and then I'll shimmy it into one of the sets of mounts. It's just some holes and some set screws in the back here. Kutt litt vekk dette her. And after I get it into the back, I'll push it into the front. And yes, I have extra just because when you order these, you order them in 50mm increments and you pay extra for custom cuts, and that don't bother me. So I'll try to get the length the same and then make a printed cap to just put on there as an extra bit of fun. So yeah, that is the y-axis installed. If I just tighten these 4 screws, the rods are held in place. And then I just need to remember to make some nice little ends for these. And finally, I have my belt retention thing, which is the same concept as what I did on the x-axis. Just loops on the belt, going in through screws on this part. So that's 2 heat sets, and it attaches on this point right here on the bed on the other side. So final thing is installing the actual bed. I did, and I still am considering making some sort of printed shroud around the bed to make it look nicer. It would have to be printed in black ABS just because the PETG would start to get soft at PETG temps. So I might do that. And this is hard mounted. There's no adjustment. I'm relying fully on the frame being square enough and the mesh bed leveling that I'm going to get with the probe. So I'm fully relying on doing that to get a nice, good first layer. And I also have the option, if it's really bad, to just put some washers in and maybe shim it slightly up or down in the corners. That's what I did before when I rebuilt this. It worked great, so I'm just going to do that again. So let me get all this installed, put the belt on the y-axis, and start thinking about the next step. Now that the belt is installed on the y-axis, all I need to do is just crank on this wheel, and that will pull this tensioner in and make my belts, tension. So there we go, nice and tensioned. Bed moves slowly. What did I say? Bed moves smoothly. Language. Yeah, I'm happy with this, and it's at the point where when the bearing blocks underneath here hits the front of the frame, the edge of the bed right here stops before it hits the screen. So that is a nice little thing. It's like I planned it. And like I said, no end stops. I will literally just be homing it by using sensorless homing in the back or front. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Next, I'll put this on, and to space it up from this platform, I will be using these little guys. Now these are just aluminium spacers from my Ender 3. These are the V-wheel spacers, and they are perfect for this. They're metal. They're long enough that I get a little bit of room underneath the bed to stop too much heat, and I can put screws through everything and just put it together. So I'm gonna do that now. Next up is the braces. So these have two functions. I have one on each. I have one on each side. They are both braces. They should help stabilize the z-axes, but they also hold all of the electronics. Well, most of the electronics. So one side will have the power supply, and the other side will have the CAN toolboard, the CAN hub or CAN bus, and the Micro 4 controller board. And it's also going to be a way for me to hide all the wiring. So yeah, so these are printed in two parts just because they're too big to be printed on my Ender wire setup, and also this big, I didn't think that it would stay flat. So I've designed it so that it interlocks. It has these little profiles so that they should just stay straight. I have a tiny little printed piece to go on here, and then on the back of them I have a printed piece that goes on like that, making a nice little feature. I might end up just using some acetone and ABS slurry and gluing this and bolting it together. I think that might be the best option in the end, but for now I'll put it together like this, and then I'll put all the heat sets in the other one. You can probably see there's a lot of heat sets in these parts, just because there's a lot of mounting going on. And yeah, let's get to it, I guess. So that is my brace put together, and it's super stiff, fairly straight, and it goes onto some mounting holes in the frame right here, and then I have more of that M10 threaded rod that will go through these holes in the bottom. I think you can see, yeah, you can see them right here. They will match up to the printed parts that I already put on the frame and line everything up, hopefully, to be straight. So I will probably spend a while putting the braces together, making sure that the gantry is straight, and getting the frame adjusted somewhat. So this is gonna be probably the last little clip for today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and keep going. So transition. Now I'm currently working on getting everything lined up. So I have a couple of challenges here. Number one is that the holes that I used on this side to attach this part is not present over here. So I have to get him from here over there, just by careful measuring and marking and drilling. So that's number one. Number two is I need to get the rods going through all of this, and because they're rods, I need to cut it. Number one, so I'm ready to cut. Number two is I do have some adjustments when it comes to everything that's on the rods, just because you tighten and loosen one nut. So I'll have to go down to my basement and grab the angle grinder and do that. So the really big issue here is getting those holes to attach it right here. I could have used some of the holes. There's some holes right here. I could have used those, but I didn't like the idea of the two braces being different. So I guess I'm digging my own hole on that one. So I will try to make that work. Yeah. So cut, roughly get it in place, find these holes, mark, drill, A-OK. I hope. Wish me luck. Ta-da! The printer is together. At least most of the mechanical stuff is there. I'm at the point where I can start putting in electronics. I put the hot end on temporarily, just because I wanted a reference on the bed, where where would the nozzle go, where I am in the front and in the back. And I have full use of the bed and a little bit of extra room in the front. And when I say a little bit, it's probably like, it's like 40 millimeters of extra room in the front. I could have shifted the bed to be more centralized, but the braces and all that stuff takes up some room in the back, so I need it to be right where it is right now. But giving me extra space in the front, it did remind me that I want to put a nozzle brush on this. So I'll probably make a printed mount at the front here, because I can, if I want to, I can go way lower than the bed. So I can set it up so that it will home with a probe right here on the right side. This is where the probe will be, so it'll home with this, and then it'll be able to go over, wipe the nozzle lower than the bed at the front. I think that would work out nicely. Yeah. And the bed moves like it's supposed to. The getting everything square it's like 98% there. I think once I get all the motion going, I could start measuring certain points and then do some math to check if I'm 100% straight. But yeah, I'm really liking how this is going together. Like I said before, this build is important to me, not because it's like the fancy printer. It's 100% my own design, based off of my first printer frame, which is just fun. I really enjoy these challenges. So this was a little preview of the tool head. It will be a magnetic snap-on tool head. That's There's no magnets in it right now. That's just the top clips holding it on. Um, so yeah, I'll take a break for today. Come back tomorrow and start working on electronics. Get it back to where I can cycle all the axes, and then I will hopefully get this printing by the end of the week. It's currently Wednesday, so I have 2 more, maybe 3 days, and then editing. Yeah, wish me luck. I'll see you in about 2 seconds or 12 hours. That's up to you or me. Actually, it's up to me. Bye. Hey, just editing Canrog here. I'm gonna leave this video like this. No printing now. I'll do that in another video because I'll be going through all the electronics as I'm installing it. And seeing as this is already more than 50 minutes, I want to keep it under an hour. So this has been it. It's a month since I filmed that last part. There's been some health issues. There's been a new computer. Thank you to my subscribers for helping me out with that. And yeah, a lot of things have been going on. So I'm gonna leave it here. Um, I'll start working on the next video tomorrow, and hopefully in a couple of weeks I can get the printer actually working. So thank you all so much for the support, the encouraging words, both here and on the Discord. So I hope you liked it. This format, it's more of a vlog style format instead of a informative video. So yeah, thank you so much again. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It lets me know that I can do more of these videos. And if you have any comments, leave them down below or head over to the Roll On Discord and I'll be answering questions if you want, if you have them. So see you in the next one. Hopefully not like 2 months from now, but sometime. Bye. Ugh. Bye.